Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone around the world. Thank you very much for joining the webinar today. My name is Ashwint, and I'm a senior marketing analyst at Zoho Analytics. I'm joining you today from Chennai. The rapid adoption of remote and hybrid work models across the globe is disproportionately building pressure on IT help desk, adding more tickets to handle, assets to manage, projects to execute, and a lot more. Agility is one of the key factors that enables IT teams to respond to these changes swiftly. In this webinar, we will discuss the 5 ways to supercharge your IT help desk with advanced analytics. All right, here's the agenda for the day. We are going to get started with the PPP block for IT help desk. Switching gears, we're going to look at the 5 ways to supercharge your IT help desk. With a quick summary of the webinar, we are going to head straight into an interesting Q&A session. Let's step into the spotlight with a PPP block for IT help desk. Well, I did mention that agility is the key to respond to changes effectively. But how do you build an agile IT help desk system? Well, by building a layer of analytical insights over your service efforts. Now, to consolidate and streamline a thought process, we are going to take the help of the PPP block. The PPP block essentially consists of three main blocks. Block one is your people. Well, people are your common denominator. The other two blocks rest on your people block. Now, under the people section or the people block, I'm going to explore or explain one possibility of how you can build a layer of analytical insights over your service efforts. The second block that we're going to look at today is the process block, where we are going to demonstrate three key areas that teams need to focus to build agile IT help desk systems. And the final block that we'll focus on is projects, which has a long tail effect on your service efforts. And under the projects block, we are going to explore one possibility to see how you can build agile help desk teams. Now, to make this happen, we are going to use two business enablers. One is Zoho Analytics, and the other one being SDP or Service Desk Plus from Manage Engine. All right, so today we have a diverse group of audience. So I'm going to quickly run through a couple of slides on Zoho Analytics and on SDP. Zoho Analytics is a self-service business intelligence and analytics platform. It was launched in the year 2009 as one of the pioneers in the self-service BI space. Today, Zoho Analytics enjoys the loyalty of more than 10,000 customers with more than 2 million happy users spread across more than 150 countries. Well, with Zoho Analytics, you can get your data from more than 250 plus data sources in the form of files and feeds, local databases, cloud databases, and popular business applications. With all that data inside Zoho Analytics, you can visually analyze your data in the form of pre-built reports and dashboards available as a default offering with select business applications. On top of that, you can also do your customized analytics using the intuitive drag and drop feature. You can build your own reports and dashboards, or the ML powered AI assistant Ask Zia can help you get to insights faster. Zoho Analytics offers more than 50 plus ways of visually analyzing your data in the form of charts, tables, dashboards, widgets, and a lot more. Doesn't end there. You can also collaborate with your teams. You can have these reports and dashboards shared with individuals or with groups, have them embedded inside your intranet or your websites. You can have these reports and dashboards up and running on big screens in the form of slideshows in no time. And the contextual commenting feature helps you to collaborate quicker and more contextually in real time for quicker decisions. Manage Engine Service Desk Plus was launched in the year 2005, and since then, it's catering to more than 100,000 plus organizations globally. ME's SDP is available in 29 different languages. It's offered on premise and also has cloud version. And it's also hosted in Manage Engine's own data centers across the world. All right, with a quick introduction on the two business enablers, let's jump into the 5 ways to supercharge your IT help desk. And we are going to get started with people. I did mention to you that I will be demonstrating one possibility, and that's going to be your resource workload analysis. Well, people are a critical component in your value chain, so it's important to assess their performance. By running a resource workload analysis, you can easily spot underperformers or people or technicians who are performing, technicians who are underutilized or overutilized, and there are a lot other possibilities to it. Now, with these insights, you can effectively optimize your resource. Well, if you're able to effectively optimize your resource, you're going to effectively optimize your service costs as well. So it has a direct impact on your business. On top of this analysis, you can also run or take a multidimensional approach, which adds more granularity to the resource workload analysis. Now, using Zoho Analytics and SDP, I'm going to now show you how this can be done. And for that, I'm going to take you to Zoho Analytics. This is the landing page of Zoho Analytics. Now, before we get into the resource workload analysis, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes to explain to you the technical prerequisite for this analysis. You have, I would say, you have just one simple step to do before you start working on your analysis. That's to get your data from SDP into Zoho Analytics. I'm going to quickly show you how this can be done. All you got to do is just hit the import your data button and you look for Service Desk Plus and the integration wizard pops up. You can access your Service Desk Plus account from here by authenticating your account. And inside Service Desk Plus, you got to just click on Setup. You have apps and add-ons under which you have Zoho Analytics. All you got to do is just click on Enable Analytics button, and in the next few minutes, your integration is in place. Once you set up this integration, your data gets pushed into Zoho Analytics and a workspace gets created in Zoho Analytics. And this is the workspace that has got created for this demonstration. I'm going to quickly show you how the different modules in your SDP account are available as tables in Zoho Analytics. This can be accessed by clicking on the data button available on the control panel located on the left hand side of the screen. You can see the different modules that are available in SDP inside Zoho Analytics in the form of tables. And I'm going to pick one particular table or module from SDP, that's my request module, and show you how the different fields from the request module are available in Zoho Analytics in the form of columns. Well, this data is laid out in the form of a sheet that helps you to get started instantly without having get any external help. All right, so let's jump into resource workload analysis. What you see here on the screen is an analysis of the tasks or service requests handled by 4 technicians in your team. This is a week on week tasks or request handling data that you see here. I've gone a little more granular by trying to understand on a daily basis the service requests handled by these technicians. Now, let's take the example of week 11. I have the service requests handled across the different days of the week. Now I'm going to take the example of 15th of March, where I get to see Brad has handled 3 requests, Bruce has handled 1, Joe has handled 1, and Robert has handled 3. Now, I would just like to set a benchmark and I want to find out those people who are performing well. Now, that benchmark is like 2 tickets or 2 service requests per day. So, if a technician has handled more than 2 service requests on a particular day, it means that the technician has been productive on that particular day. So, how do I do that? I'm going to quickly analyze this visually, create some color cues, and find out the ones who have performed. So, I'm going to mark those people who have handled tickets more than 2 in green, and those who have handled tickets less than 2 in red across these weeks that you see here on screen. So, for that, I hit on Edit Design and I click on any of the data points on my table and I choose conditional formatting. This is where I get to define my condition. So I say anything that's greater than 2. Let's call them performers. So let's assign green color for them. And anything that's less than or equal to 2 are people who have scope to improve their performance. So I'm going to mark them in red and I hit OK and I get back to my view mode. All right, you have it there on the screen. You can quickly find out those productive days and the productive technicians based on this quick analysis that I've done here on the screen. Now, this is a point or a juncture at which your quant bias kicks in. What do I mean by that? Let's say Brad has handled 3 tickets, whereas Bruce has handled just 1. Now, you might end up saying that Bruce has handled just 1 ticket, so maybe Bruce was not engaged adequately on that particular day. But what if the tickets handled by Bruce are kind of critical for the business, and the service requests handled by Brad maybe of medium priority or of less priority? Now, that will help us iron out the quant bias that pops up at this juncture. So, if I have to further build more granularity on the report by further breaking it down by priority, I may have a better view of things. So, I'm going to do that. So, I hit Edit Design and I'm going to simply drag the priority column and drop it into the row box. And I click here to generate or regenerate my pivot view, and I have it right here on the screen. All right, so here you have a more detailed analysis of the tasks or service requests handled by the technicians. You can see that Brad has handled 2 low priority service requests, whereas it has just been 1 high priority service request. You can look at Joe handling just 1 low priority service request here. So by doing this analysis, you will be able to efficiently reshuffle or the focus of the technicians, make them attend to more high priority tickets depending on the business needs. So I'm going to save that report and let's get back to our presentation. So the quick analysis, you were able to get more granular or grassroots level insights on your technician's performance with the resource workload analysis. Now let's move to the next block on our PPP block for IT help desk, and that's the process block. Now, the process is relatively key area for IT teams. So we thought, why not, bring in 3 different use cases or create 3 different possibilities to explain how analytics can build a layer of insights on your IT service efforts to bring in more agility into your teams. So the first area that we want to focus is, how do you move your teams from being reactive to becoming more proactive? Now, for that, we're going to analyze 3 different metrics. These are probably three key metrics that can help you understand the performance of your entire service team. And they are your request flow, percentage escalations, and average time to respond. How do you move from a firefighting or a postmortem mode into a more proactive mode? The key lies in forecasting these metrics. Now, if you are able to forecast how your request flows are going to be in the next few months or how your percentage escalations are going to be, you're in a better position to plan your resources. Now, being prepared by forecasting these metrics can help you move away from a reactive zone to a more proactive zone. Well, not just that, you can also benchmark your performance against the industry standards to see if you're matching up to the expectations of your business and the markets. On top of all this, if you're able to bring in two key metrics into a single report, you'll be in a better position to understand the impact of one on the other. Now, let's say, for example, you want to understand how your request flows are impacting your percentage escalations. You're in a better position to have a control on the percentage escalations. I'm now going to show you using Zoho Analytics and SDP how IT service teams can move from a reactive zone into a more proactive zone. So the first metric that we, or maybe the first two metrics that we said we're going to discuss is your request flow versus your escalations on a monthly basis. As you can see, I have the data analyzed for the last 14 months on how my ticket inflows or request inflows are impacting my escalations. And I get to see, based on the trend, I find out that the request flow is directly proportional to my escalations, which means more the number of tickets, more the escalations are going to be. But is this adequate to help you move from a reactive zone to a proactive zone? I don't think so. So you got to forecast these metrics so that that's going to give you a better clarity on the future. So let me show you how you can forecast these two metrics. One, your request flow, and two, your escalations on a monthly basis. So I hit on edit design and I hit the analysis button and I choose forecast. So this is where I get to define or set the metric that I want to forecast. So I choose the request ID, that's my request flow, and I'm going to give a blue color for that metric for the forecasted values. I'm also going to forecast my escalated tickets for the next 5 months, and I just hit apply and I go back to the view mode, and I'm able to see how my request flows are going to be for the next 5 months. So you can see a gradual increase from February 2021 through May 2021, and that has proportionately led to the increase of your escalations. So with these numbers, you're in a better situation to optimize your resources, be more prepared to handle these escalations. So I'm going to quickly save this report. The next metric that I want to show to you is your average time to respond. And for that, we're going to engage the ML powered AI assistant Ask Zia. So this is the Zia interface that you see here on the screen. So all you got to do is just ask questions to Zia in simple English or in natural language, and Zia can get you the answers instantly. So I want to understand how my average response time monthly spend. I just ask a question and I have the answer right here on the screen. So, as you can see, your response times are pretty fluctuating. So, you have multiple peaks and multiple valleys. So, in the last 1 year or 1 year and 2 months, this is how your response time was. Now, to find out a trend in your response time because of the multiple peaks and valleys, you can use the trend line that you see here, light blue colored curve that you see here. That's your trend line. It helps you identify the trend in your data set, and it shows that your average response time was pretty high in November, and it had gradually come down, and it had hit the rock bottom in May 2020, and then it has gradually gone up. Now, you can use this report to further probe into the reasons for the increase in your average response time. Well, it doesn't stop there. I'm going to forecast this metric. So I'm going to ask Zia to forecast my average response time. And this light blue color dotted line that you see here is your forecasted average response time. You can also see Zia has analyzed the data and has also given you the trend line for your forecasted data as well. Now, these are some of the interesting things that you can get to if you're able to analyze these three key metrics to have a holistic view of your service efforts. All right, with that, we're going to get back to our presentation. And let's move to the next area that we want to focus as far as your process block is concerned, and that's about your ticket transition. Well, your ticket transition essentially focuses on the average number of technician changes per request to be. Now, when you get to analyze this, you're able to focus on your people and also on processes. Well, if you're able to find out, the number of times your requests are getting shifted or moved from one technician to the other, that is going to help you identify the setbacks in the process. Could be gray areas that you want to improve, or it can also help you identify training needs that your technicians might need to undergo. That could possibly be the reason why your tickets or your requests are getting moved from one technician to the other. And not just that, you can slice and dice your data, your service data by technician, reason, department, and a lot more. And that's going to add more insights for you to make more or better decisions. And on top of that, this might also be of interest to you where you want to find out the long pending requests that are queued up, or maybe the requests that have undergone too many technician changes. You're going to have these two metrics analyzed in one single place for you to have more inputs to make better decisions. Now, with that, I'm going to take you back to Zoho Analytics and show you how the ticket transition analysis can help you get more insights. You can see here on a monthly basis the average number of technician changes your tickets have undergone, and you've defined an average of three, or maybe that's your target, or that's where you want to be. Anything beyond that can be quickly spotted on this report. Like, say, for example, months of November 2020 and March 2021 have a reasonably higher number of change in technicians, like five. Now, you can also forecast these values, find out a pattern on the months that have the highest number of technician changes. You can also slice and dice this data. You can find out by technician, like which technician has the highest number of technician changes, and then or by the request or the category of request, and that can help you spot the kind of training that your people might need. We also discussed about longest pending requests. So I have analyzed the top 10 longest pending requests in the form of a horizontal stack bar. From this analysis, I get two insights. A, I get to find out which are the requests IDs that have the longest time to get assigned to the right people. And also, I get to find out the number of technicians the tickets have probably been assigned to. Let's take the example of request ID 7892. I get to see that it's taken almost 12 hours to get assigned to Adam. Adam has spent around 9 hours, and then it has got moved to John and then to Robert, and finally it's been with William for 11 hours. So, put together, it's been 50 hours to attend to this ticket in a more appropriate way. With these analysis, you get more insights on how your tickets are getting reassigned to people. You might want to sit with your team and try and understand the reasons for the delays in the assigning these requests, and also in assigning it to the right people after too many touch points that you see here on the screen. With these analysis, you get more understanding on how your requests are being processed, how they're handled, and what actually needs to be done. Moving on to the third key area, which might be of prime importance for IT service teams, would be the SLA. SLA is not defined by just one metric, but you have multiple metrics in your SLAs. So it's important to have holistic end to end insights across your multiple metrics. Now, how do you do that? You move away from a unidimensional approach and you take a multidimensional approach, or you run a multidimensional analysis where you analyze your data by priority, by department, category, technician, and a lot more. Now, that gives you more insights, more granularity, more transparency on your SLAs. Now, the key reason why we consider this as one of the core areas for IT service teams is that SLAs have a direct business impact. Now, let's say you're servicing customers, then you have a direct cost impact of SLA violations. And in case you're servicing internal customers like your employees, then probably it might have an impact on time, which eventually gets converted to cost for your department. So it's very important to have holistic end to end insights. Now, with this note, let me show you how you get these insights on your SLAs. Well, like I said, SLAs are not defined by just one metric, but you have multiple metrics. And one of the best ways to track these metrics would be to quickly build a dashboard on your key focus area, that's your SLA. So I have 5 KPIs for my SLA, like my SLA violations count, my maximum SLA violation by priority, my maximum SLA violation by department percentage, maximum violation by department, and the technician who has the maximum violations. Now, for this business, they have considered 5 different KPIs, but it could be different for your business. You can add as many KPIs as you want here in the form of widgets that you see here right on the top of the dashboard. Widgets help you to quickly understand what's happening in your service team, and you can set up more reports like the ones that you see here that talk about your SLA. Story unfolds here with your SLA compliance monthly trend report. I'm going to quickly maximize that. And you can see I have analyzed the SLA compliance across April 2020 through Feb 2021, and I've forecasted it for the next 5 months. Well, this is an important report for ID service teams. What kind of insights can you get here? Well, it helps you understand your trend, no doubt about that. But let's get more granular in understanding your violations on certain aspects. Now, let's take the example of Jan 2021, where you have 105 service requests getting violated. Now, I want to drill down or drill into my January 2021 violations and find out the day on which I've had the maximum violations. So I do a drill down and I get to find out that Sundays are my highest request violations or SLA violations that happen. It stands at 28, followed by Saturday, that's 18. So over the weekend is where I have my maximum SLAs getting violated. So you might be probably understaffed over the weekends to attend to these requests, or you might be adequately staffed, but you might want to check out with these technicians who are engaged during over the weekends to find out what exactly could be the problem for these uh, uh, violations that happen over the weekend. Now, similarly, you can also run this analysis. You want to find out the SLA violation by department. You want to drill down by department. You can do that. And I get to see the NOC team has the highest number of SLA violations for the month of Jan 2021. All right. So we got more stories to say. You have your overall distribution of requests by priority, with medium priority tickets having the lion share of 48%. I've also analyzed my SLA breaches by technician. I get to see Antonio has the highest number of SLA breaches. By department, we saw the NOC team having 51% of the overall number of SLA reports. You have the overall distribution of SLA by category, and you have the SLA compliance by request group analyzed across multiple metrics like average time elapsed, percentage of requests, and a lot more in the form of a pivot table. So, with dashboards, you get to understand at a more granular level on how your SLAs are performing, or any metric or any area in your IT service team for that matter. Now, the beauty of having a dashboard is that you can have these dashboards shared with your colleagues. You can have them shared with individuals or with teams. All you got to do is just hit share and say, share this view. And you can just key in your colleague's email ID and you hit share. It gets shared instantly. On top of that, you can also have your dashboard embedded. You got to hit and click. You got to hit on share and then click embed. And you all you got to do is just copy and paste this iframe link that you get here into your internet portals or your websites or your blogs, and you're going to have this dashboard getting updated in real time across the places where you have it embedded. Now you can also leave comments on your dashboards when you want to collaborate with your teams. You can point to reports and you can leave your comment. You can also collaborate in real time for quicker decisions. All right. Now, with these kind of great things that you can do with dashboards, you are going to have more granularity on your SLAs. Now, with that, let's move to the final block on our PPP block for IT help desk, and that's on projects. Well, your project management is definitely a key focus area because of its long term effect on your service efforts. By running this analysis, you'll be able to identify setbacks and missing links that are probably hindering or clogging up your project executions. And that's going to help you optimize your efforts. And finally, it's going to give you more granularity on the project management side of it. So I'm going to show you quickly how the project management analysis can help you get more insights for better project execution. So this is probably your go-to report when you want to analyze your projects. So I've visually analyzed the percentage completion of a few projects, and I have, for the ease of understanding, marked those projects which have delayed in red and the ones that are progressing on time in green. So that's the first level of segregation I want to do. I want to filter out my delays as again from the on-time projects. Now, what do I do from here? Well, I get to see that my QA automation project, the one on the right below of the chart, has a 80% completion. So it's progressing, it's on time, and it has an 80% completion. Whereas I have my conditional formatting project at a 40% completion, which is not running on time. Now, I might want to consider shifting some resource or shifting some focus from my QA automation project to my conditional formatting project. Or maybe I want to even look at my internationalization phase one project, where I want to have some people from my CRM phase two project, which stands at 67% completion. I want to shift or shuffle few people from my CRM phase two project to my internationalization phase one project. Now, there's something that you really need to consider at this point. What if your this project that you are looking at, say for example, the QA automation project is a high priority project? The percentage completion may not be a sole indicator for you to optimize your resource. A priority could be another factor as well. So I'm going to now filter and find out those projects which are critical so that I don't really meddle with them. And all right, so I get to see that my QA automation project, though it's 80% complete, it's one of the critical projects for the business. So I may not want to get more resources out of the QA automation project, but rather I would focus on another project, maybe a project that has low criticality or low priority. Say the CRM phase two project has progressed well with 67% completion, but it's also a low priority project. Now, with that, I want to now realign my focus of my resources, and I can channelize it to a project which needs more focus. Now, this is just an example. It's just a possibility that we have demonstrated here on two factors. That's a your percentage completion and b priority. Now, that could be more for your business, and I leave that for you to explore. So with that, we are now completing all the three blocks on our PPP block for IT teams. And I'm going to quickly summarize this webinar. So we explore the possibilities across three blocks: the people, process, and projects block. We saw how the resource workload analysis in the people block can help you optimize your resources. When it comes to the process block, we had three possibilities. One, moving your teams from being reactive to a more proactive mode, the ticket transitions, and also the SLA analysis. And finally, we closed it with the projects block, where we had a detailed analysis of the progress of the projects to realign our focus. The beauty of this model is that all the three blocks are interlinked, so the kind of possibilities that we explored today are connected with each other. Well, now, having said that, I want to leave with three key takeaways for this webinar. Now, if you're looking to, supercharge or build agility into your IT service efforts, you should probably look at three things. To build this layer of insights, you need to look at a platform that seamlessly works with your existing setup or in your existing ecosystem. Now, I've demonstrated with Zoho Analytics and also with SDP. Now, you got to find out a suitable platform that works well within your ecosystem. And Zoho Analytics does offer integrations with more than 250 data sources, with 50 plus business applications. You should also, the visual analytics stack that's built into your analytics platform that you want to engage for this activity should be robust, because it has to analyze your data from multiple dimensions. Now, as you see, you had the stack bars, you have heat maps, you have area charts, you have funnels, and a lot more in Zoho Analytics that helps you to analyze your data. So similarly, you really need to look at a strong visual analytic stack in your BI platform that can help you slice and dice your data. On top of that, like the drill downs that I showed you, it should also enable you or empower you to run exploratory analysis, that is, get deeper and deeper into analysis to unearth more insights. And finally, make sure that your platform is equipped with advanced analytical capabilities. Now, if I were to bring up an example like the forecasting that we did today, or like the trend lines that we have, or maybe the Ask Zia that we were trying to explore today. So these are some of the advanced analytical capabilities that you have in your platform. And so maybe if you're considering to invest in any of these platforms, I would urge you to consider these 3 points before you invest. All right, folks. So with that, we are heading straight into the Q&A session. And before I hand it over to Silas, a good friend of mine who will be helping us through the Q&A session, a couple of FAQs. This webinar is being recorded, and we will be circulating the link in the next few days. Over to you, Silas.
Thank you, Ashwin. I hope the webinar was helpful for our attendees today. I'm happy to take it up the Q&A one by one. So please post your questions using the questions tab at the left. All right, so I got one question regarding Zia. All right, can I provide access to all users in an organization uh, to create reports using Zia as Zia? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much possible. As an administrator of Zoho Analytics, you will have complete control of what level of access that you want to provide to an user. So Zia is more into like a report creation activity. So to do that, obviously you need access to the data set, the underlying data set. So as long as you have the underlying dataset access as an user, as an user in a Zoho Analytics organization, then you will be able to use Zia on top of it and get reports or create reports. So the admin can absolutely control what level of access can be provided to the user. So if admin provide the data level access, then Zia can be used by any users. So that's what we are focusing on, the data democratization across the organization. Now, one additional point I just want to emphasize, or probably I could inform you that we are working on a lot of enhancements, particularly focused on the augmented analytics. So we are expecting some good updates in a couple of months from here. And some of the interesting features in the ASDS, like conversation mode, and also embedding the Zia itself in another web application or something that we are working on. So you will see a lot more exciting updates in the Azia um, in Zoho Analytics. All right, so I'm going to take it up the next question, right? Can you provide updates on certain modules? I guess it's on the Service Desk Plus moving to Zoho, that is problem and survey. Well, of course, I mean, this is something that, sorry to disappoint you, Alan, I do not have an update currently because, I mean, the to-do list is something with the STP is like we are coordinating with the STP and we are working on certain things in terms of integration and enhancement. So obviously, we are planning to include a lot more modules as a part of it, but prioritizing the specific modules that you have mentioned is something that we need to cross-check. Obviously, I will take a note of these modules and I'll probably add it as a feature request or probably the enhancement and see whether we can prioritize based on the user demand across different users, basically. And I got next question on what is the forecast based on? Is it an average of previous data? Not exactly, Sharon. So what we do is when it comes to the forecasting in Zoho Analytics, uh, we use specific algorithms to forecast the data set, basically. All right, so it's not simple, I could say a simple average of previous record and then just go ahead and plot it. It uses certain models, predefined models, which is typically used in the business intelligence domain. So some of the features, I mean, some of the models that we use is like the one of the well-known model is called like seasonality trend, some regression model and other stuff is exists underlying. But I mean, currently it is something kind of a predefined model. We cannot go ahead and change the forecasting type as on today. So it's a predefined forecasting model that we use. So it's not just taking the previous data set and take the average uh, alone. It understands the interval between the data set. It understands the growth and the seasonality or the trend between the data points, and then it'll try to provide an update you on top of it. So that's very important. One good information I could share here is we are also working on custom models and forecasting feature, which will be available in a couple of months, as I said. So the custom model is nothing but we will let you to choose some other forecasting models. So if you take any forecasting method, it typically uses certain model like ARIMA, ETS model, STL model, regression model, and so on. So there are a lot of models out there. So even when you I mean, you can configure a lot of parameters in deep in each and every models. So for example, if you take the STL model of forecasting, it takes the additive trend, seasonality, and residue of that data set and provide you the information based on the frequency of data set. Similarly, ETS will allow you to configure certain parameters like the frequency, the trend, the seasonality, and all those stuff. So it's pretty complex, it's pretty deep on certain aspects. So we use a lot of algorithms behind the scenes to do it, but currently it's on the STL model. But the plan is like we are going to provide more customizations where you can choose different types of forecasting models like ARIMA, ETS, regression, STL, and so on. And going forward in a long run, you will be able to define your own custom algorithm to do the forecasting as well. So that's something that we are working on, and down the line you will be able to see that features in the product. So that's in terms of the forecasting. I'm happy to answer your questions if you have any. All right. So, all right. So I think no more questions for today. So thank you so much for your time. If you have any further questions, obviously you can contact us through support@zohoanalytics.com. So with that, I'm going to close this Q&A session and hand it over back to Ashwint. Thank you, Ashwint. Please take it up further.
Thank you, Silas, for the interesting Q&A session. All right, folks, I believe that was useful. So with that, we are coming to the end of the session. You can write to us anytime on support@zoanalytics.com. If you want to supercharge your service efforts, we invite you to get started at zoho.com/analytics. Once you leave this webinar, you will be prompted to leave your feedback. So I request you to share this same. That's it for the day, folks. Thank you for sticking along and have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.